So hey guys, what's up? Happy Monday, and it's your favorite cousin, and I'm back with another video. So per usual, let's get to the topic. So a lot of people are regretting how they treated you, how they thought you were one way and you showed them you're a totally different person, and maybe you needed time to work on yourself, to love on yourself, to become the person you needed to become. Maybe you needed time to separate yourself from these people because you were dependent on them too much. You were dependent on them for your happiness, dependent on them for things that you should have gotten from within and not from other people. And now that you're doing that, or you have done the work and you're in a process to become what you always knew deep down that you could become, or what they knew that you could become, now they regret it. They want to come back. They want to say they sorry. They want to say they made a mistake. But sometimes for certain people, it's too late. And this is not for all people. This is not for, in your heart who deserves to be in your life now versus when you were down and out, and how they treated you. And one thing I learned is you may forget a person's name, you know, sometimes how they look, whatever the case may be, but you will never forget how they treated you, especially when you were at a vulnerable moment, especially when you needed someone the most. You saw their character, you saw who they truly was, or who they truly are beneath the surface, not the face they put on for the world to make them seem like, oh, this person is a good, I'm talking about, and that person know, and God know how and what they did to you. But you let it go. You moved on. You've gotten help. You're in a better space. They can't even, and the sad part about it is, sometimes we go through something, or sometimes people are just not for us in a specific season or time in our life. But had they been upfront, had they been honest with you, had they been, had that conversation with you, maybe they could have can't come back. Maybe you guys could have saved the relationship. Maybe. But because of how they did you, how they kicked you and stumped you when you were down, and there's no coming back from that. There's no coming back. So what you done is you have showed certain people, and like I said before, these people in your life, but you have showed them that you don't know what God is going to do for someone's life. You don't know who they are going to become. And scratch all that, regardless of who they become and what God will do for them. Treat people just like people. Treat them kind. You don't have to. The way they did you was just uncalled for, okay? But those are the people that now you understand that you have to stay away from. Because when you were down, they kicked you and they stumped you, not physically. I'm praying not physically. But you know what I'm saying? But now that you're up, they want to spin that block. Listen, there's no spinning the block. Okay, like I said before, had they had that conversation with you, had they say, I thought this was what I want, but maybe, okay, had they did that, then there probably could have been, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you just got to separate for a season. But these people, they played in your face. They took advantage of your vulnerability. They waited. They planned. They waited until you were in a vulnerable spot. And then they took that mask off. And now it's off forever, because guess what? You know who they are. You know who they are. They, like I said, they're going to put on a face for the world. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. But you know the real them. And this is just not for a relationship. This could be family, friend, whatever. You know what I mean? When you need people the most, that's when you know who are there, who's really truly loving you, who's there for you. And I'm not saying like you down all the time and you always need help. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying in life we all go through hard times, okay? But those people who truly have a genuine good heart, they're going to remember who was there for them when they had nothing or when they needed help. And I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about you may needed a plate to eat. You may need a hamburger. You may needed a piece of bread. And you remember who was there for you when you didn't have, maybe they didn't have a lot, but they said, hey, I can direct you to this. Or, hey, you know what I'm saying? Any type of help. I'm not talking about if you need help every month or if you constantly depending or leaning. I'm talking about when you have a bit, when you hit some things in life, okay? Because nothing is guaranteed in life. But you remember who those people who purposely hurt you on purpose to add more onto you when you were already going through something. And they may not even need it to give you something, but they gave you encouraging words. They gave you a hug. They just sat there with you for 5 minutes, whatever the case may be. But those on the flip side of that coin, there are people that says, okay, I know this person is going through something right now. I'm about to strike. But they didn't know that you were going to come up. They didn't know you had that dog in you, that fight in you. And you stayed quiet and you watched how everybody moved. You watched and you knew who loved you and who really was there to get what they needed for you in that time. Even when you didn't have nothing, it was something that they can get from you. Okay? But now that you're not in that space anymore, thank God. Or maybe you are still in that space, or maybe God is pulling you out of it, or maybe you finally got a job, or maybe you finally got your apartment, or maybe you finally got a car, or maybe you finally got groceries, whatever the case may be. And you're not that vulnerable anymore. But you remember who helped you. You remember who just gave you a hug. Those are the people you're going to always be there for because of what they did for you. It could have been the simplest things, but the simple things matter, especially for the people that don't have a lot of people. The simplest things matter, and you're going to go be above and beyond for that person every single time. They may need a piece of gum. You're going to go buy them a case of gum from Costco. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go extra. You're going to do extra off the strength that I remember when I didn't have nothing, or I remember when I needed a hug and this person gave me a hug. I remember when I needed a plate and this person had extra food and they offered me a plate. You're going to always have those people back off of that smallest little things because you have a heart and you know how it is not to have, and you appreciate people. You don't take advantage of them. You don't kick them when they're down. You don't do that. You're not that type of person. But for those people who played in your face on purpose, they're going to have to watch you eat. They're going to have to watch you eat. And they're going to have to understand, and they're going to reflect on the times when, oh, I remember when he was, or I remember when she didn't have. They're going to reflect on that. But see, the good thing about God is God will overextend you. Like your enemies are going to have to see you eat. They're going to have to see that. And they're going to have to think, I could have been there with that person. All that person needed was somebody to talk to. All that person needed was a hug, encouraging words. I could have been there with that person. That could have been my wife. That could have been my husband. That could have been my friend. That could have been my business partner. So now, moving forward, you pray that they don't treat, you know, maybe they got a wake-up call or whatever, but they won't ever have another opportunity with you because how they purposely tried to hurt you on purpose when you were down at your lowest. You don't forget that. You forgive, you move on, but you will never forget it. You will never forget it. Ever. The good and the bad. The people that were for you and the people that did not want to see you grow. You will never forget that. And what they didn't understand is that fuel, that energy, that heartache, that pain, you thrived off of it and you became better. You took all those emotions and it propelled you to who you are becoming or who you are today. Of course, with the Lord, of course. But they didn't understand that energy and the actions of them. They thought that was going to knock you down and keep you down. They thought you were going to be down forever. But surprise, you're not. You won't be. In fact, you are constantly improving. And they have to sit and watch. They have to sit and watch and be in regret. Or, you know, maybe one day they're going to need you. Because God always turn them tables. Like I said, in life, nothing is promised to any of us. So, and when them tables turn, you have a decision to make. Will I treat this person how they treated me? Or because I healed, because I love God, and because I have grown, I've done the necessary work, I will still give to them, but they will never have my heart the way they had it before because at one time it was in their hand and they smashed it. So I forgive you enough to help you to a certain extent. Don't do too much. Don't do too much, okay? Because listen, hey, he's still working on us, right? But you'll never have that same version of me. They will never have that same version of you ever again. And it ain't your fault. In fact, it was a blessing to your life. So I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next video.